Do not forget the Lord your God. With these words, Moses speaks to the people of Israel and begins to recount all the different things that God did with Israel as he led them out of slavery in Egypt and fed them in their hunger, as he freed them from so many things across the years, as he gave them a new identity, no longer Hebrew slaves, but the Israelite people, as he made them from 12 separate tribes into one people. He liberated them from hunger. He gave them water from the rock. He constantly demonstrated his presence in the ways that he fed them, in the ways that he was with them. Do not forget the Lord your God. How has God been with us? Each of us. Very much, we are a people, not just the people that are here, but globally, we are becoming very conscious of the fact that we are different. We're Europeans and Asians and Africans and Latin Americans. We're short and we're tall. We're skinny, we're fat, we're male, we're female. We're musical, we're non-musical. We have all these different identities. And we all want to celebrate our diversity. We want to celebrate the things that make us unique. We want to celebrate those things that make me different from you, and you different from you. But what is it that binds us together? Otherwise, we become so individualized that we begin to drift off into nothingness. What is it that binds us together? I offer you that it is the body and blood of Christ. It is the person of Jesus himself. Now, we as a people have celebrated Eucharist right from the very time of Jesus himself, right from the very Last Supper. The Christian community has been gathering to do what we hear said, the last thing that the priest says in the words of institution, the words of consecration. Looks at the people and says, "Do this in memory of me." We've been doing it for over 2,000 years. But we haven't always quite done it the same. And our appreciation of it has been different. Initially, we came together in the very early church to celebrate Eucharist and meal all at the same time. To give thanks for the gift of the person of Jesus Christ, and then to give thanks for the community within which we celebrate that faith. And then our understanding of Eucharist began to shift as we became very conscious of our own sinfulness. And so for a very long time, you didn't go to communion. You went to church. You sat through the sermons and everything else, but you didn't go to communion. You were not worthy. We were not worthy. You didn't approach Eucharist. This was the infinite God who was incarnated on earth. How dare you even think about approaching him? But we'll let you look at it. And so we began the experience of exposition, putting the host up on the altar, far up and away, and you can see it. Don't touch. Don't receive. And now in our current era, beginning with Pope Pius XII, who said, no. You need to go to communion at least once a year, if not more. In fact, we should be going to the Eucharist every time we go to Mass. You really haven't completed the celebration without going to communion. And I can see somebody there saying, yeah, but I have to go to confession first. Certain amount, yeah. But I wonder if Pope Francis doesn't have the right of it. As Pope Francis reminds us that Eucharist is not a prize for the perfect. You got it right this week, so therefore you can share in the bread. You got it right in your life, so therefore we'll let you come to communion. He says it's not a prize for the perfect. It's healing for the sick. And so a certain amount, we're reaching back in history and saying, you know what? None of us is worthy. I don't care how good you've been this week. We're still not worthy. The infinite God is present among us. And you and I get to share in that, in the experience of communion. Communion. We become one with. We get to share in that. And we do not because we got it right, not because we're perfect, not because we've done everything that we're supposed to. We do it because we need it. That's why we're here. Do not forget the Lord your God. Do not forget the Lord your God, who has given you family, who has given you friends, who has bound you together, bound your life together with the intimate bonds of faith and family, rooted in the experience that God has become one of us. And just as we share our flesh and blood with him, he shares divine life with us. It's a profound mystery. How do you sort all of this out? To be honest, I don't know. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm still learning about it. Every time I approach the altar, I'm just overcome with the idea that what I'm doing is so amazing. And what we do when we come forward to share in the communion is so amazing. And yet there are days when I'm wondering, I better get this over with. I've got an appointment in 20 minutes, and I have to be up at the hospital, and I've got a meeting over at the bishop's office, and he wants to talk again. Your mind just goes on and on and on. And yet we're immersed in this profound mystery that is the deepest reality that we have. That you and I, because of our sharing in the Eucharist, because you and I take communion, we become one with our God becomes one with us, and we become one with each other, not because we deserve it, but because we need it. And that's what binds us together. Just as the ancient people of Israel were bound together by their common need for the one God, to feed them, to liberate them, so are we. Bound by this need for our God to liberate us. Not from our sinfulness, although there's that too, but from our desire to break apart. We need our God to pull us back together again, to heal our divisions, to heal our inner needs, to heal all of our personal greeds, all of our personal selfishness, all the times that we think of me first instead of we first. We need that experience of communion to heal our brokenness. Do not forget the Lord your God. We remember, we celebrate, because we believe.